In their preseason finale, the Baltimore Ravens literally steamrolled the Washington Commanders, beating them 30-3, and that officially closes the book on preseason for this year, and now it's on to preparing for them Buffalo Bills. But in order to get there, we got to talk about the game that we watched. We got to share our post-game thoughts from that preseason Week 3 game. But also the Ravens, they got a lot of tough decisions that they got to make, and a lot of players did not make anything easier for EDC, for John Harbaugh and company. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn them notifications on, and leave a like on the video. It helps out the channel a ton. And also, got to give a special shout out to my son. And if y'all could put in the comments, congratulations, Carter. Shout out to Carter, because he had his tryouts for his flag football team last week, and he went out there and did his thing. He caught every pass thrown his way. He ran his 40 time, and he was doing this. I was super, super proud of him, man. So shout out to Carter in the comment section. He would really, really like that. I want to show him this video and make him smile even more than he already is. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being family. Thank you for being supportive. And let's get into this preseason game from the Ravens and the Commanders. Now, let's start off with the defense, because the defense in this game, boy, the defense really all preseason, but the defense in this game, Ravens were literally locked down. Like, literally locked down. They had not one, not two, but 3 interceptions. Probably the best one came from Keon Martin, who, like, before, I would have said, Keon Martin, he's been making some nice plays in the preseason, but is he going to make the roster? I didn't see it. But after today's game, I don't know. I'm second-guessing that one. Because Keon Martin, that's all he does is make plays. And last week's game against the Cowboys, Keon Martin had a nice tackle in the backfield, and then literally the very next play, he ended up sacking Joe Milton for not only a sack, but a safety. So he added points to the board, and he said, you know what, no. That wasn't enough. So in this game, he decided, you know what, I'm going to follow that up. I got to score even more. I got 2 points last week. Let me get 6, because he ended up catching a sexy pick 6 on the Commanders. So shout out to Keon Martin, because, again, those decisions that Eric DeCosta and them got to make, I'm not jealous of them at all. That's a tough job. But then somebody else who, it's funny because before this game started, while we were in the beginning of this game, I said he needs to have a big game today. That was Jalen Armour-Davis. And Jalen Armour-Davis certainly did that. This was a huge confidence booster for him, in my opinion, and something that said, like, hey, I can make some plays too. Because he had a nice pass breakup. I think it was like an inside slant that the Washington Commanders were running. Jalen Armour-Davis broke it up. I said, okay, Jalen, there you go. But then he said, no, not enough. So a couple of drives later, the Washington Commanders quarterback, he dropped back. And Trent Simpson, he tipped the ball. So it's like, okay, he tipped it. It's about to be interception. Jalen Armour-Davis said, no, incompletion. It was going to be incompletion, but Jalen Armour-Davis said, nope, incompletion ain't enough. I want to pick. So he went and caught that tip drill pass, or that tip drill interception, and got the ball back for the Baltimore Ravens. I said, that boy Jalen Armour-Davis, man, this is exactly what he needed. He needed it for sure, because I feel like guys like Ruben Lowry were creeping up on him, on Keon Martin really creeping up on him on the roster. And we know the Baltimore Ravens really love them some Jalen Armour-Davis for sure. That's why they've been keeping him around. But this was a big game for him, and he needed all of it. Now, somebody else who caught a pick was Thomas Graham Jr., who the Ravens literally just signed like a couple days ago. They just signed him. And he caught an interception on former Baltimore Raven Josh Johnson, I believe. It was looking like the Washington Commanders were finally going to score. We're thinking, oh, well, I mean, it's a blowout anyway. If they score, they score. But Ravens were like, nope, they're not going to score. Josh Johnson threw the ball, and Graham picked it off in the end zone. It was a beautiful thing to see. So these guys, again, still continuing to make plays for the team, just showing out and showing up. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Ravens defense all preseason, and these are all depth guys. All depth guys just continuing to make plays over and over and over. Trent Simpson in this game. He, of course, like we talked about, he had that pass deflection that led to an interception, but he also got a sack. He got a sack and a half, and him and Teddy Buchanan, they shared that half a sack. But with Trent Simpson, it's been interesting seeing, like, wondering, how do the Ravens feel about him? Because he's been playing in this preseason a lot. Teddy Buchanan been playing in this preseason a lot, but then so has Jay Higgins as well. We haven't really seen too much of Jake Hummel, but we definitely seen them other three. So it's led us to wonder, like, all right, how do they really feel about who's going to be lining up next to Roquan Smith on Sundays. Who's going to be the Robin to Roquan Smith being Batman at inside linebacker? So I still think it's going to be Trent Simpson, and today certainly helped him out a whole lot. But it's still officially to be determined. We'll see against those Buffalo Bills in just a little bit. Now, some people that also stood out was, I would say, T.J. Tampa. But T.J. Tampa had a nice fast breakup. But he also had a big-time missed tackle where he went for the hit, but the tight end or the receiver, I think it was a tight end, he stayed up, and he just ended up getting like 20, 30 more yards after that. And I was like, oof, that's not the best look in the world. And I think Sanusi Kane had missed a tackle or two as well. But I do think T.J. Tampa had a better game than he's had the previous couple of weeks. But there was still probably a bit of room for improvement there. And that's what these reps are for. That's what the preseason is for. It's about continuing to get better, continuing to hone in on your craft. Jay Higgins, same old stuff. Still looks good. There was one play where Commanders quarterback threw it up, and Jay Higgins looked like he was going for an interception, but he sort of mistimed it or maybe misjudged it. And the Commanders receiver, he just went up and got it. He just straight up went up and got that ball out of the air. But Jay Higgins continues to show excellent football IQ. Is all over. Everything is always in the right places where he needs to be. So even with him, tough decisions, man. Ravens got a lot of players that are worthy, in my opinion, of making this roster. But obviously not everybody is going to make this roster. What I do envision happening, especially because, Ravens are jealous. You saw them trades happening the other day. I could definitely see the Baltimore Ravens over these next couple of days. For some guys who they may be wondering, are they on the bubble or not? Some guys who they may want to keep. I'm sure they want to keep everybody, but some guys who they thinking like, this guy's pretty valuable, but we might not keep him. If they get the right call, or they might make a call, that player could end up, or those players could end up getting traded. Because, of course, you would want to get something for them. Even if they're not going to make your team, you would much rather get something for them rather than cutting them and getting nothing. So I can see the Baltimore Ravens being super active on the phones this upcoming week. Going on the offensive side of the ball, these Baltimore Ravens, that first drive, boy, they took like over 9 minutes. They were just running. They threw in a little pass here, then running, then throwing a little pass there, but they were just super run heavy. And it felt like, look, we just trying to get through this last preseason game, trying to get it over with, and we're going to get there. Rasheen Ali probably locked up his roster spot. But Dearness Johnson, he's looked really good too. He's looked really, really good as well. So while I do think that spot is going to go to Rasheen Ali, Dearness Johnson is sort of nudging him just a little bit. But I do still think the Baltimore Ravens are going to go with the running back that they drafted last year. Because, again, he has been looking a lot better this year. Just closing out runs. Even in the passing game, he had a real nice catch, a one-handed catch close by the sideline where he caught it, turned upfield, got some yak. So Rasheen Ali, he has certainly been doing his thing. Dearness Johnson, he is an extremely tough runner, very, very tough runner. Has some good speed. He got some wiggle to him. Got a real good burst too. So I like him a lot. I think he is definitely since he most likely won't make the roster due to the Ravens already having 4 running backs. Like we said before, if they could keep 6, then he would have been on there for sure. But they ain't keeping 6 running backs. But I think he's a candidate for making the practice squad for sure. Cooper Rush wasn't in too long. Went 5 for 5. His drives are looking good. Again, they were dominated by the run game. Devin Leary, I think the run game really slowed down when Devin Leary was in it, but I think the Baltimore Ravens just really wanted to get him as many reps as they possibly could. I still expect him to be Baltimore Ravens' emergency quarterback, their 3rd quarterback this year. So we'll see that officially in a couple of days because we won't officially know till we know. But Devin Leary did look better this game. Still some room for improvement, but he's very inexperienced. He hasn't played in a regular season game before. Obviously, Cooper Rush has. Obviously, Lamar Jackson has. But Devin Leary just simply hasn't. So I mean, how can we really judge him? I see a lot of people saying, Devin Leary, he ain't ready. But Devin Leary is also not expected to be in any games for the Baltimore Ravens. He'll be dressed, again, as a 3rd quarterback, but it doesn't go much beyond that. Well, DeJounte Wester, We saw the Baltimore Ravens trying to get him involved with a couple of passes. One of them was a screen. So they just really wanted to continue to see, like, all right, LaJohntay Wester, what can you do when the ball is in your hands? And that's exactly what they did. He was also on punt returning. I think all of us expect him to officially be Ravens punt returner of the season this year. Now, we won't know that officially until week 1, but I think we can all figure that it's going to go to him. Scotty Washington, the tight end, he made a really, really nice catch over the middle, but he caught everything thrown his way, which was nice. Dayton Wade, oh, man, that was tough. Because Dayton Wade, we all remember the first game of the preseason, the receivers just really didn't have an opportunity to do anything. But the second game and the third game, they had much more opportunity. But Dayton Wade, he got to show it, especially last game. And then this game, he started to show it. He made a really nice catch over the middle of the field, ran over that defensive back on the Commanders, but then he hurt himself. He got a shoulder injury. Don't know the severity of that injury yet. Haven't heard anything yet, but he left and he did not play again. Dayton Wade was somebody I was thinking would definitely be on the practice squad for the Baltimore Ravens this year, but now with him being hurt, I wonder exactly what they'll do. I wonder if, hopefully it's not a serious injury at all and he can be on a practice squad, but I wonder if the Baltimore Ravens would stash Dayton Wade, depending on if they just wanted another practice squad spot for somebody else, because there's still Anthony Miller, there's still Keith Kirkwood as well. Those are some receivers who were on a practice squad last year too for the Baltimore Ravens and obviously got called up on some game days as well. So that is something to think about. With Anthony Miller, speaking of him, he had some passes thrown his way, but they were incomplete. Some floaters, they were all in traffic, especially the two that were down the sideline. There was one down the right sideline with Devin Leary. I think it was on 3rd and long, and Devin Leary got pressured, and he threw it up. And with Devin Leary, one thing we noticed when he throws it up, he throws a deep ball. A lot of times it can be a bit short, so the receivers have to come back to it. It was not his worst ball, though. It was not this terrible pass or anything like that where it was severely underthrown or anything like that, because Anthony Miller still had a chance to make a play on the ball, and he tried to, but he just dropped it at the very end. But I do, again, candidate for the practice squad for sure at wide receiver. And then last but certainly not least, that boy Tyler Loop went 3 for 3 with a longest of 61 yards. That boy Loop, hey, the confidence is there. It's there. So now it's time to bring that confidence from preseason and everything you've been doing, carry it right over to week 1 and for the rest of the regular season, and then, of course, into the playoffs as well. Ravens got to make it there first, but I'm sure that they will, but the games still have to be played. So Tyler Loop making all 3 field goals to end out the preseason, that's big. That's huge. We've been talking about how the Baltimore Ravens, they've been doing so many different things to try to build his confidence and try to boost his confidence, and I think it's at an all-time high right now, as it should be. But now the even realer test starts. I can't say the real test starts because the real test has already started with him having to make those kicks in minicamp and OTAs and then in training camp and then in the preseason games. But now the biggest test, it begins because the regular season is starting. So Loop is officially the kicker, so let the games begin. That wraps up the preseason, but like we've mentioned before, it does not wrap up the work of this front office and all the decisions that they have to make with this roster. But speaking about the roster, one decision that they could possibly try to attempt is going after a superstar player. Is this possible? Is this a reality, or is this just us living in fantasy world? To find out, click this video right here.